Today on MATC Now, we'll get an inside look at this year's Transfer Days event, discover MATC's workforce solutions, visit Xfabula, a local nonprofit organization here in Milwaukee, and even take a trip to the audio production program. All this and so much more on this week's edition of MATC Now. Thank you for joining us today on this jam-packed episode of MATC Now. I'm your host, Ticia Muzinga. Joining us today is Mike Reaver. Mike is the Milwaukee PBS Development Manager. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me, how long have you been at Milwaukee PBS?
It's almost 5 years now that I've been here.
Okay, and then can you describe me what your position is?
Well, the title itself is a little bit confusing, but the development manager is actually the director of fundraising. And that's what I do here at the station. Okay,
and tell me how Milwaukee PBS working with MATC differs from other television stations.
Well, in 1957, when Milwaukee PBS received its license from the Federal Communications Commission, it was granted to the Milwaukee Area Technical College. To this day, we're still a function of Milwaukee Area Technical College, but the academic part of the college is kind of a shirt-tail relationship to us. We are a PBS affiliate, and as such, we broadcast the traditional PBS programs like Frontline and Nova, Sesame Street, Arthur, things like that. But then in addition to that, we have our own production elements here, such as 1036, Black Nouveau, Adelante, Arts Page, Around the Corner with John McGivern. And a lot of times students from the television arts program here at the college get to work with us on those programs as camera people or editors or things like that.
Wow, sound like a busy man.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it every day.
And now we'll go to Jeff Gus and Zoshi Marquez to get the lowdown on the audio production program and MATC's Now's Program of the Week.
MATC's audio production program is special in that, number one, it's pretty cheap to be in the Milwaukee market and to offer an associate degree program for the price that it does to the students. It's unmatchable anywhere. Another thing that's pretty different than some other schools, many times they have the audio part, but they don't have a music part. So we have a music occupations degree program with instrumentalists and singers, and we can draw from them, and we record them. And many of our audio students are also musicians or singers, but in this case, we have a whole nother program we can draw up.
First impression when I came here was I was very I wasn't overwhelmed, but I had no experience in this, and the instructors here are very catering to that, and it really fostered just kind of this desire to come and learn more, because you come into this room and there's all this cool stuff flying around and you don't know what any of it does.
Having teachers that are active in the field are one thing, but having teachers that were on the top of their fields is another thing. I won't name their names, but one of our teachers has mixed for Paul McCartney and Toto. And the list is, I'll be sitting with him and he'll mention another group he mixed for, and it's like, what? And then we have a guy that has done over 10,000 entries in library music, and his music is playing all over the world. I myself have done music for original advertising, and it's great to win awards and to be doing national ads. And we have another guy that does professional installs and has a mastering company and has owned a studio and is now still doing installs. So the expertise that the instructors bring is really, really valuable.
My schoolwork is almost entirely project-based, which to some is unappealing. To me, it's very appealing. And what I'm working on right now is, one of the two main things I'm working on right now is an audio story, is what we call it, in audio production for film. And that is working primarily with recording sound effects that you wouldn't necessarily, like, I was running my hands through my hair for grass sounds and covering my mouth and making weird sounds and layering it to make a monster. Like, we're trying to create a narrative through only sound effects, basically, and with 1 or 2 lines of dialogue. It's very interesting to try and convey something like that just through audio.
So there's live sound, there's studio sound, audio production for TV and film. We're teaching them to do sound effects, Foley, ADR, re-recording the voices. You just don't know where the work is going to be. And so we want to make sure that the student will have options when they leave. Many of them come in with one thing in mind, and then when they get out, you know, who knows, maybe they'll be doing convention audio and setting up a mic and 2 speakers for a trade show. So all of those things we try to take the student through and give them a diversified occupational option. Our associate degree program is targeting individuals that really, I want the end goal that they can do a lot of different things. When you think about it, you think immediately, oh, I want to do live sound, and they want to mix front of house for big concerts. And we do have that kind of work here. With Clearwing in our neighborhood, and with Summerfest, and with so many options to do live gigs, that's a pretty good way a person can make a living.
Thank you, Jeff and Zoshi, for that piece showcasing the audio program here at MATC. For more on the program, Mike and I are joined by Signa Sviam, a student in the audio production program. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, how long have you been a part of the program?
Well, I've been at school here for 2 years, and I've been in the audio program just for about 1.5 years. So my first semester I was only in music, and now I'm kind of veering more towards audio.
Okay. So what made you choose this career?
Originally I thought, well, I've always known I wanted to do something in music, and I thought it was performing, and I tried that. I tried teaching. I was just like, this isn't really what I want.
Sure.
And then I researched audio production, and I was like, this sounds exactly like I want to do. I want to record people. I want to produce the music. Because I really like helping people.
Yeah.
So in order to be able to like have that with something that I love, with music, would be phenomenal. And then I stumbled upon audio production. So I'm able to do that.
So this really is more music-oriented than newsroom or something like that?
Yeah, but with the audio program here, it kind of prepares you for any aspect of audio, which is really, really nice. Like, I didn't know that TV had a separate kind of audio, same with music for films, and then like sound effects, we learn about that. Even studio design, we get into that as well, and I had no idea that it encompassed so much, like the program here.
Yeah.
Just covered all areas of audio.
Sure.
Anything that can go into it.
So I hear that you have strong instructors and music department you just spoke of. Yeah. So how has that enhanced your experience?
I think really well, because something that I really like about this program is that all of the instructors are actually in the field, so they know what's going on, what's new, what's become obsolete, and they'll be able to teach us that. And even our instructors, you ask them about one thing and they will be able to tell you exactly what it's about. They can elaborate on anything, any questions that you have, they know the answer to, because they've been in the field so long and they have so much experience.
Sure.
Now,
really nice.
I'm curious, what type of support do you get from MATC upon completion of your studies in terms of helping you find a job?
Well, there is a final project study class that we are required to take, and that's basically an internship, which I am currently in now. So you have to, the teachers will help you find internships, but it's up to you to be able to get that internship. So you go through an interview process and then become an intern or not. But as part of your grade, you have to have an internship somewhere. So that kind of helps you get your foot right into the door, and then you learn things in the studio, and then you can go basically from there.
Wow.
So.
That sounds like a lot.
It's fun though.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for joining us today, Signa. The audio program sounds like it has so many great things to offer students. So Fernando Mora is going to let us know about MATC's Workforce Solutions. But first, Joe Carini gives us a recap of this semester's transfer days. Check it out.
Every semester, each of the 4 MATC campuses hosts an informational event for students looking to cross over to a 4-year college or university. The 2017 Spring Semester Transfer Day saw over 20 schools throughout Wisconsin come to each MATC campus to inform students on the benefits and options offered by their administrations.
Well, we're a weekend college here in Milwaukee. We're actually in the 3rd ward, which is right next to the Harley-Davidson Museum. And all the programs are on the weekends. So 2 weekends a month is considered full-time.
Marion is an applied liberal arts institution, so we have a variety of programs. We're particularly gearing towards our bachelor's degrees in nursing. So we have an RN to BSN bridge program. We have a criminal justice program that will work sort of a similar way, where you have to come in with an associate's degree and transition to a bachelor's degree. And we also have 5 or 6 business programs that work in a similar fashion.
Transfer Days gives a personal approach to students looking to find out information on a college or university.
We've got some collaborative agreements with MATC that allows graduates with an associate's degree, an earned associate's degree, to transfer into one of our online programs. We've got about a half dozen of them, with essentially the same number of credits that you earn upon graduation from MATC. You would earn the classes that would transfer to any 4-year college, but then we also grant a block of credits for the technical training that you receive as part of that associate's degree.
I think it's pretty good. It's overall better talking to someone in person rather than going online and having to Google stuff yourself. And then here it's multiple ones and it's just easier for me to do.
If you're interested in transferring to a 4-year university, please see your counselor for more information on the steps to take to get you headed in the correct direction.
MATC offers some great services to help local companies better prepare their employees for a successful career with MATC's Workforce Solutions.
The idea behind the name is to solve the problems of business and industry. So we basically call on a company, see what types of challenges they're having, and then I'll meet afterwards with the subject matter experts, show them some evidence and things that I've gathered, and then we will suggest some training options that might help them solve their problems and meet their challenges.
Services offered by Workforce Solutions include contract training, professional development workshops, dual credit high school courses, and entrepreneurship services.
There is a foundry that we work with that has a number of employees for whom English is their second language. Their native language is Spanish. So we have an instructor that goes in there and trains them English as a second language, but at the same time tailors it to the needs of the company. Instead of just giving the standard class that we give on campus, we incorporate terms that the people would use in their everyday jobs.
The relationships formed through Workforce Solutions benefit not only companies, but also help strengthen the presence of MATC in our community. We
recently provided training in brazing for a manufacturing company, a company that makes chillers. So brazing is the welding of copper. And they were having some scrap issues, customer complaints that these chiller units sometimes would be broken. The weld would be broken by the time they got them. So the instructor went in there and observed, looked at, I picked up brochures from the company, sample blueprints and schematics. The instructor went in there, looked at the problems, figured out what people could do better, and then we went in there and taught a class on brazing. Everybody really enjoyed it. Each student writes an evaluation at the end of the training. They were all positive. And then a year later, I called them back and said, well, how have things improved? And they gave us some facts and figures that their scrap rate was almost 0 after we did that training there. So the instructor appreciated the knowledge of the results of what he had provided and the feedback that he got. And now he has some more schema to offer in his training class when students in the class might say, well, how would this apply to real life, he could tell about this company. So it's a win-win-win situation, really. It's a win for the employees, it's a win for the company, and it's a win for the instructor. So.
For MATC Now, Fernando Mora.
It's good to see a college that's so devoted to helping its students move on to the next step successfully, whether they want to continue their education or transition into a professional world. So, about that package, Fernando did a great job.
Yeah, he really did. It was really informative, and I hope the people watching really got a lot out of it.
Yeah, I know, I definitely did. Now, Morgan Walker presents an informative piece on the accommodation services offered here at MATC.
MATC has many services and resources to help their students succeed.
Student accommodations is designed for students with disabilities. Here at MATC, we provide students with disabilities equal access to all of our programs and services.
They have like wheelchairs, blind people, deaf and hard of hearing people, people that can't write, and all kinds of disabled things they need for their classes.
Some of the accommodations we provide for students are a calculator, note-taking assistance, audio versions of textbooks and tests, sign language interpreters, closed caption televisions, and various other accommodations depending on a student's disabilities and their needs. Accommodations are needed in order to provide equal access of MATC programs for students with disabilities, and they're really designed to not give a student an advantage, but really level the playing field in making sure that everybody has an equal opportunity here at MATC.
At first I was kind of worried about it, and I thought I wasn't going to get the help that I need, but the more I began to come and the service I was qualified for with my disability, it really helps me out a lot.
The goals of the department are to support educational progress, promote completion of educational objectives, and ultimately expect individuals with disabilities to acquire and maintain competitive employment.
You request the accommodations, and then we're going to request appropriate documentation of your disability in order to approve those accommodations.
I really encourage people to come out to see your criteria. Maybe they would qualify as they would come and see whatever disability they have, or if they're struggling with something. Testing, they help with that. So I personally would encourage students to come out and to get to know more about the accommodation. Maybe it'll be applied for them.
How the grade change is because the interpreter is in the class, and we have where note takers take notes, and also there's a teacher where we rewind and type what she goes over in the classroom.
All the accommodations that we provide are based on an individual's need and their specific disability.
We're here to help you. If you have a disability and need help, you can apply for accommodations at all 4 of the MATC campuses in the student accommodation offices.
Very informative package right there. What did you think of that?
You know, I'll tell you, I'm really impressed how MATC tries to level the playing field for all students. We just learned a great deal about physical needs of students and maybe some cognitive needs of students, but I also have firsthand experience with the English as a Second Language program that we have here. I'm impressed how MATC really strives to reach out to all students and give them an opportunity.
Absolutely. That's a great thing, how the school provides solutions for everyone to make MATC a positive learning environment. Moving forward, we'll visit a local nonprofit that strengthens bonds through storytelling. Matt Cox takes us to the home of Milwaukee organization Ex Fabula.
Storytelling is a great way to connect with others. It can bring people together that wouldn't have very much in common. We have a way to hear some great stories in our community through a storytelling series called Ex Fabula.
X-Fabula is a Milwaukee nonprofit that strengthens community bonds through the art of storytelling. What this means is that we have story slams, workshops, and a variety of community collaborations where we help people to connect by telling their true personal stories. I'm actually one of the people that co-founded the organization, so I had attended storytelling events in other cities, and I'd long been a fan of podcasts. And there were a handful of people that kept having this conversation about how Milwaukee should totally have a storytelling organization. And we kept waiting for other people to start it, but nobody did. So eventually I think we got the idea, since we're passionate about it, maybe we should start it and start doing this community building stuff that we wanted to do. At our monthly story slams, there are a handful of veterans that have come, and told stories year after year. But we have a couple things in place to make sure that we always get lots of new voices up there. And at our regular events, we don't let anyone tell more than 3 times per season, because we really believe that everyone has stories that are worth sharing, so we don't want just a couple voices to dominate.
In the first season, X-Fabula hosted 7 storytelling events at 7 different locations across 5 distinct Milwaukee neighborhoods. In 2010, X-Fabula debuted to a crowd of 65. It wasn't long until the increasingly large crowds forced the organization to look for bigger venues that they use today.
There's a lot of art forms where you have the chance to go into a place and sit there and be a consumer. You listen, you watch, and so forth. But at X-Fabula, it's really participatory. Now, you don't have to get up on stage. If you don't want to take the stage and you want to share a story, you can also write a couple lines on a slip of paper, and we'll have an MC read it on stage. And there's other ways as well. Basically, we believe that not only should you come and listen to stories, you should also tell your own, and that's part of the experience. It really matters to us that we're aggressively inclusive, so we have lots of different projects that try to bring different voices to our stage. Among other things, we're going to have a project with Milwaukee Public Library as part of the Big Read, and we're going to have some storytelling workshops in English and some in Spanish, and then a bilingual story slam. Of course, if people just like the tried and true, the original, the story slam, we have a pretty cool one coming up in April. On April 12th, we'll have a slam with the theme, Only in Milwaukee.
For news on upcoming events, visit xfabula.org for more information.
It's amazing to see how storytelling can bring communities together and create lasting bonds. Thanks to you, X-Fabula, for sharing that wonderful experience with us. Let's send it over to Tizia for the MATC Minute.
Thanks for that. What? Thanks for that, Mike. Last but not least, for our show today, Reggie Adams brings us a message from Trevor Kabatsky. Here at MATC.
College for many, many years. That wasn't always student friendly. So a committee, part of the core committees of the college, looked at that policy and sought student input to revamp it. So coming out now is a new grade appeal policy where if a student feels their grade isn't exactly what it should be, they try and work with the faculty, they'll work with the dean, and ultimately can go in front of a panel of faculty and students who will hear the information, and if deemed that the grade needs to be changed, the grade will be changed. So I think that's one example of the way we try and improve things. Another example is this year the college started some non-student contact days. So March 14th and 15th, students didn't have to come to class, and that wasn't just to have a vacation. It was to give the faculty and staff time to really do the work in the classroom and the offices to make sure that we're meeting the students' needs in every way. I know a lot of our faculty spent time looking over curriculum, making sure our curriculum's relevant to our students, even cleaning labs, making sure the equipment is up to top speed. So all those days which students got to be home, we were here working hard to try and improve the experience our students have.
Great. So kind of like.
So about that package, lots of informative stuff. What did you think of it?
I thought Trevor did a really good job of showing us just what types of things MATC has to offer and how it really fits into a holistic college education for people. I think that's one of the keys to MATC. It's extremely supportive, and if there are needs, MATC reaches out to try to provide an answer to them.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week. I'd like to thank Mike Brever, the Milwaukee PBS Development Manager, for joining us.
Thank you very much. I had a wonderful time.
For MATC Now, I'm your host, TC Muzinga. We'll see you next time, MATC.